From the Roundtable at Uncle's Studios in beautiful Southern California, welcome to another edition of Work Out Matters, the central location for you employees, you employers, and independent contractors. My name is Steve Appel, and I'll be your host for the next hour with some talk, news, and hopefully some answers about Work Comp Matters. Thanks for being part of the show, and if you can break away from your Work Comp Matters, feel free to give us a call and clue us in with your questions, comments, and or concerns. The phone number worldwide, 818-357-4120. If you want, you can send me an email at wcexaminer@aol.com. Heck, you can even be old school. Send me a fax, 818-475-1437. With me in studio, the best-dressed man in workers' compensation, Mr. Ted Durden. My right-hand man, Mr. Mike Zyma. My protege, attorney Robert Ozeron. Scott Walton of Uncle Studios is on the board. And back at WorkComp Central, making sure the whole damn thing goes right, is Jake Paris. And shoot, once again, I almost forgot, halfway around the world in Munich, Germany, John Scalia. Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome to another edition of WorkComp Matters, the central location for you employees, employers, and, of course, we have not forgot about you independent contractors. Tonight's show, of course, is on the Singapore Summit. The supreme leader and the President of the United States met a night or two or three ago, depending on what part of time or where your watch is. And we're going to get to that in just a little bit. WorkComp Matters is brought to you by A1 Law and Santa Monica Tickets. If you want the #1 computer management system used by more workers' compensation attorneys than any other system on the planet, give me a call at 818-357-4120 for your no-strings-attached money-back guarantee, $1 a day, A1 Law. And if you want those hard-to-get, sold-out, yes, even front-row concert, sports, theater tickets, give my buddy Brian a call at 310-395-8587. Well, topics tonight including the summit. Domino's Pizza is paving the way. We have an insurance story on farmers insurance. Additionally, we've, of course, got an update on Hawaii's volcanoes. Las Vegas is giving away a free wedding if you're willing to ride in a driverless autonomous car. There, of course, is return to nursing home with patients. We've got a story or two about the homeless. Naturally, we have lawsuits. Gloria Allred is in the news. She's representing a couple of dozen women who are filing suit against the USC gynecologist, Dr. George Tyndall. We've got stories about depression and opioids. The LA County Board of Supervisors regarding the homeless, and of course the Governor Jerry Brown regarding issues of millions of dollars and just where to spend that money. Eli Musk and Tesla is in the news, and we have a judge who was recalled in Santa Clara County. And a much more stories of information and interest. I also wanted to say that coming up next week on WorkComp Matters, 30-year workers' compensation attorney Barbara Thompson is coming on the show to talk about mediation. 2 weeks after that, Mr. Mike Burton is coming on the show to talk about structured settlements, and one that I'm looking forward to 2 weeks after that, which is about July 18th. Beverly Hills attorney Raymond Heckmat is coming on to talk about divorce and family law. But without further ado, he's my right-hand man. He keeps me in check at least 90% of the time and hopefully out of trouble with the first story on the Singapore Summit, Mr. Mike Zyma.
Thank you, Steve. The Supreme Leader, Kim Jong Un, and President Donald Trump signed a joint statement yesterday that said North Korea would work toward denuclearization. Trump and Kim met for nearly 40 minutes in private with only interpreters in the room at the start of their summit on Singapore's Sentosa Island. After the summit had concluded, Trump told reporters in a 65-minute news conference that he had agreed to North Korea's longtime demand to stop military exercises with South Korea. The war games have been a mainstay of the U.S. alliance with Seoul for decades. Trump also said he hopes eventually to withdraw about 32,000 U.S. troops stationed in South Korea, although not as part of the current agreement with Kim. Asked why he trusted a ruler who had murdered family members and jailed thousands of political prisoners, Trump lauded Kim for taking over the regime at age 26 when his father died in 2011 and being able to run it, quote, able to run it and run it tough, end quote. While Trump repeatedly portrayed his two-page agreement with Kim as comprehensive, it contained little new except a commitment by both sides to continue diplomatic engagement, with Secretary of State Mike Pompeo leading the U.S. side in future talks.
Guys, we're going to get to John Scalia's opinions on the topic, but I wanted to get yours first. This is the time. Mike, Ted, Robert, go ahead.
First of all, I'd just like to say that I'm absolutely fascinated by just watching the whole summit thing, what we were able to see, the cameras let us see, just to watch it unfold, because it brought me back to 1972 and Nixon goes to China and a couple of other things. And it's just fascinating for me, just first of all.
Well, did you guys see the video? The video that Trump had presented to...
I actually avoided that.
Oh, it was an impressive video.
What was it about?
What, did anyone else see it?
No, did not.
Oh, it was a sales pitch. It was a sales pitch on freedom and capitalism. And,
really?
Yeah, and it was really impressive. You know what?
Sell him a couple of shares of stock in Trump University or what?
Well, not that. It reminds me of the sales pitch that we all practice for me in my office, for, when we're signing up a new client, or especially if we're doing a jury trial. If I'm conducting a jury trial, I have my projector and I have my little, it's my projection.
But it was more of a rah-rah thing, which is okay, but it was a rah-rah
It was more
thing.
like, well, you have to watch it. It's free online now, right? And it's a trailer for a movie that's not to be written. That's the idea. So they use the Kim Jong Un's, he's a fan of film and basketball, right? And so those images are in there, and it's like two men at the verge of, changing something great, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, he really pumps him up.
Isn't it over the top?
No, it's good. It's, you know what, I got to say, it is a good sales pitch.
Okay, so...
You got to watch the video.
Okay, so I didn't watch it, so let me just ask you a couple of questions then. So in the sales pitch, is the purpose of the video was to demonstrate to Kim Un the benefit of denuclearizing. Is that what it was about?
It wasn't just about the nukes. It was about bring yourself into the future. Mm-hmm. So it was like this collage of photos of new science and space exploration and medical discoveries. And then they showed the map of the Korea from space and how half of it's dark and half of it's light. And then he turned on the light switch to the top half. And it was really impressive. It was like, well, this could be you, right? And then he also pumps him up psychologically, like, you're a great man. This is your destiny. He called it Destiny Films. Mm-hmm. So he was maybe he was laying on a little thick for the ego of a dictator, I admit, but it was a sales pitch of freedom. It was a sales pitch of freedom. That's the only way I could describe it. It was a traveling salesman with his, I think of myself as going to trial. I have my little rolly cart with my projector and my computer, and I have my projector ready to go, and I have my little speech ready to go, and I'm doing my pitch. It doesn't matter if I'm selling steak knives or if I'm selling a jury trial. It's the same principles.
I'll be honest with you. I didn't follow it a whole lot. I really didn't, because for where I sat, the Trump and Kim Un meeting was much ado about nothing. And this is why I say that. Because of the fact, like we discussed before, all Kim or his father ever wanted was just validation and recognition on the world stage.
He's got that.
And he has that. That's what he was looking for. Now, as far as what's going to come of it, will remain to be seen. I'm always concerned when I hear phrases, and it kind of takes me back to what happened with Iran, as far as we will work towards, disarming our nuclear weapons and getting rid of our enriched plutonium and so forth. Because the one thing that I saw that caused me some concern today was a statement that said Trump agreed to lift sanctions against North Korea. And my concern is, isn't that kind of putting the cart before the horse? If that statement is true.
Well, that'd be a good insight, because I know Trump kind of attacked Obama for the Iran deal for putting the reward ahead of the
Exactly.
act, right?
Exactly.
In this case, I think perhaps it's slightly different, simply because North Korea has already invited the press, right, to the destruction of their nuclear site or something like that. So they've already made a couple moves.
With one cave, it was like less than 1.1% of their program.
And they gave up the hostages, right?
That's true.
They did kill that Otto Warmbier kid earlier, so that's not we're not looking too
but again,
short-sighted.
But again, like you said, it was one cave. As far as again, that looks good. It looks good, but exactly if that is actually representative as far as the depth of the nuclear weapons and enriched plutonium that they do have, we don't know, because I think what he's doing looks great. It does, and I'll give him kudos for that.
Yeah, we all like the effort.
But again, I don't want to see him make the same mistake that Obama did. You're rewarding them before they've actually done anything. That's my whole concern.
And then, of course, you take your victory lap like you've actually accomplished something.
Right.
History repeats itself, right?
Exactly.
Those are all good points. My name is Steve Appel. You're listening to Work Comp Matters, the central location for you employees, you employers, and, of course, independent contractors. We've got someone else who wants to give his opinion. He's a 45-year workers' compensation attorney, still licensed to practice, still got his ticket in California, but he's hanging out in Germany. What can I say? With his opinion on the Singapore summit, but we're going to call it the family, attorney John Scalia.
Hi, this is John with the Work Comp International Report from Munich. I'm recording this on Monday in Munich. Tomorrow, two heads of state will meet with important international negotiations at stake. One of them has lived in Europe and speaks multiple languages. The other has never lived outside the borders of his own country and speaks just his native language. One of them has run a country for over 10 years, which is in fact the family business. The other has run hotels and golf courses, which is in fact the family business. One of them has important international allies, Russia and China. The other has basically lost all his allies and has Israel as an ally. Yes, I'm talking about the meeting between Kim and Trump. In case you didn't know, Kim went to school in Europe. He went to an international school in Switzerland. So at a minimum, he speaks English because that was the language of that school, in addition to Korean. Trump, as we know, speaks sort of English. What is the problem with this meeting? Well, the problem is that one of these two guys is an idiot. And I don't mean Kim. Yes, I think Trump is an idiot. This has nothing to do with whether I disagree or agree with his policies. I think the man is stupid. And you can say, well, John, the man has a degree from an Ivy League institution. Having a degree does not prove that you even went to school. For those of you who can remember, one of the Walmart heiresses had a degree from the University of Southern California. It was revealed that she had never gone to class and paid people to take her exams. When it finally came out, she was forced to return the degree to SC. So you can have a degree and never ever go to school. I've multiple times made an offer to sign a release from my academic records if he'll sign one for his, meaning Trump. But I doubt it. But the problem is he's stupid. I mean, just because you don't have a degree or haven't been to school doesn't mean you're stupid. But for example, in a recent telephone conversation with Pierre Trudeau, the Prime Minister of Canada, Trump made a joke about, didn't you Canadians burn down our capital one time? Well, no, Donald. It was actually the Brits who burned down the capital, and it was during the War of 1812. And you can say, well, John, what difference does it make that the guy doesn't know something that happened in 1812? Here's the problem. The problem is, if you don't know any history, you don't understand what you're dealing with. Let's talk about the Korean Peninsula for a second. First of all, there was a war in the Korean Peninsula 70 years ago. Well, it ended 70 years ago. The United States is always fond of saying, well, the war was a UN-sanctioned intervention. Well, technically it was. The reality is, when it came for a vote at the UN Security Council, the Russians were so irritated they boycotted the meeting. Big mistake. Boycotting the meeting meant they couldn't veto the resolution. The Russians have never made that mistake again. The reality is that the Korean War was U.S. intervention in Korea in order to prevent the South from becoming communist or being taken over by communism. And obviously, the military effort worked. You think Kim has forgotten this? Afterwards, South Korea became a vassal state of the United States. Think I'm exaggerating? During Vietnam, when Lyndon Johnson wanted to lie to the American people about how many troops were actively involved in fighting, he figured a creative way to get around it. He would ask the Koreans to send 50,000 Korean troops to fight in Vietnam for the Americans, and he would replace them with 50,000 American troops in Korea. So the American troops would have non-combat assignments, and the Koreans would be doing the Americans' bidding, fighting in Vietnam. You think Kim doesn't know this? You think Kim has forgotten this? After the war, there have been joint military exercises on the peninsula, where America and some of its South Asian allies have made a point of demonstrating to Kim the military might of the United States and its allies. You think Kim didn't know this when he was developing nuclear weapons? So here's the problem. Kim has all this history going into the meeting. He knows why he developed these nuclear weapons. The United States has said, well, the only acceptable alternative is denuclearization and verifiable. Given the history on the peninsula, do you think Kim is going to give up anything unless he gets something from America? And certainly, the Americans have indicated they want the weapons first. That certainly is not going to happen. So my prediction is that the meeting is a bust and Trump walks out and says, I can't negotiate with this guy. Or maybe there are some minor concessions made and some minor things given to North Korea with further negotiations down the road. Hopefully I'm wrong and things will turn out well. But that's the view from Munich this week.
And as always, John, I appreciate your cogent and valuable contributions. My name is Steve Appel. You're listening to Work Comp Matters, the central location for all you employees, employers. And, of course, we haven't forgotten about you independent contractors. We're brought to you by A1 Law and Santa Monica Tickets. If you want the #1 computer management system used by more workers' compensation attorneys than any other system on the planet, give me a call at 818-357-4120 for your no-strings-attached, money-back guarantee, $1 a day, A1 Law. And if you want those hard-to-get, sold-out, even front row concert, sports, theater tickets, give my buddy Brian a call at 310-395-8587 for Brian, our buddy, at Santa Monica Tickets. We've got more news, more talk, and hopefully some answers coming up. Specifically, Domino's paving the way. We've got fatigue in the workplace. Farmers insurance is in the news. We're talking about update on Hawaii's volcanoes. Las Vegas is offering a free wedding for those that are going to risk going in a driverless car. We've got nursing home patients going back to the hospital. Information, of course, on the homeless. USC gynecologist Dr. George Tyndale is in the news. We have depression and opioids. Los Angeles County Board of Supervisors regarding the homeless. And, of course, information about Jerry Brown and California. And a whole bunch of other stuff, but right now it's time for a musical break. He's La Familia. His name is Glenn Laughlin. The group, the Cherry Blue Storms. And here comes, baby, You're a Rich Man.
How does it feel to be one of the beautiful people? Now that you know who you are, what do you want to be? And have you traveled very far? Far as the eye can see. Baby, you're a rich man. Baby, you're a rich man too. You keep all your money in a big brown bag inside a zoo. What a thing to do. How does it feel to be one of the beautiful people? How often have you been there? Often enough to know. What did you see when you were there? Nothing that doesn't show. Baby, you're a rich man. Baby, you're a rich man too. You keep all your money in a big brown bag inside is who? What a thing to do.
We're brought to you by A1 Law and Santa Monica Tickets. If you want the #1 computer management system used by more workers' compensation attorneys than any other system on the planet, give me a call at 818-357-4120 for your no-strings-attached money-back guarantee, $1 a day, A1 Law. And if you want those hard-to-get, sold-out, yes, even front row, concert, sports, theater tickets, I've known Brian for over 20 years. He's at Santa Monica Tickets, 310-395-8587. My name is Steve Appel. You're listening to Work Comp Matters, the central location for you employees, employers, and independent contractors. It's time for some news. Ted, go for it.
An initiative that would divide California into 3 separate states qualified last week to appear on the ballot in November's general election.
All right, we're going to talk about this, but finish the story. We're going to talk.
Californians will vote whether to separate into 3 states: California, Northern California, and Southern California, subject to approval by U.S. Congress. The proposal by venture capitalist Tim Draper to break up California in a campaign called Cal 3, quote unquote, received more than 468,000 valid signatures, surpassing the amount required by state law. California Secretary of State Alex Padilla will certify the initiative as qualified for the November 6th ballot on June 28th.
Yes, and the key, of course, there is subject to Congress. You really think Congress, the United States Senate, United States House of Representatives, is going to approve of adding 4 more state, 4 more U.S.
senators,
4
and
more
they almost
senators?
certainly will be Dems.
Yeah.
That's not going to happen.
It's never going to happen. A total waste of time, money, an exercise in futility.
I mean, really and truly. It is one of the most ridiculous things that I have ever seen.
Robert, you've got the next news story.
And I got,
go ahead.
And just off the cuff, how are you going to distinguish California from the other 2?
Well, actually,
They drew a map.
They already.
Yeah, I got it right here.
Yeah, no, they got it.
This is the map right here. See? So California, Northern California, and Southern California are the 3 proposed states. This is, what is it called? Whatever it is called?
Cal 3.
Cal 3. So California, which is where we are right now in Los Angeles, would be called California. Not Northern or Southern, just straight California.
Actually, I can tell you the exact boundaries. The southern part of California would be the southern part of Los Angeles County. The northern part of California would be, Mike, where is it? Just south of San Francisco?
Monterey.
Would be Monterey County. And then it's going to go east, somewhere between 30 and 100 miles. I'm not sure which. Mm-hmm. North of Monterey, California is Northern California. And south of California is Orange County, the Inland Empire, and San Diego County. Go ahead, my boy. Finish up.
Also goes up to Fresno, too, right? Southern California?
Southern California is actually very large because it goes past California,
but it has
to the north,
right, on the east side.
But it has California has the entire coastline.
Yeah, it's pretty much actually split almost down the middle, kind of at a weird angle there, except for Los Angeles to Monterey. That strip of coastline is its own state.
What would be the reason somebody would want to do this? Usually it involves money, follow the money kind of thing. Why would people want to do
Well,
this?
that's a good question, actually. So this was proposed, this Cal 3 proposal, by a Silicon venture capitalist.
A gazillion billionaire, right?
I think his name is Tim Draper.
Yeah, that's correct.
And he's a venture capitalist for some sort of tech up in Silicon Valley. And this is his proposal. He got it onto the ballot. And, I guess anything is possible nowadays. People are really thinking, right? We have Trump as president. People thought that was
Does Draper
not
say
realistic
why
a couple
he
years
wanted
ago.
to do this, Robert? Did say
That
why?
he hasn't explained, as far as I know. I could research it more. But I don't really care because I don't think it's going to pass.
No, I don't think it will either. I really don't.
Yeah.
Well, let's see. The next news story, I guess.
I got it right here.
Okay,
actually, boss.
go for it. Go for it.
So, negative news. Electric car maker Tesla is laying off 3,600 workers, mainly from its salaried employees departments, in an effort to deliver on CEO Elon Musk's promise to turn a profit in the second half of this year. Musk sent out an email yesterday saying the cuts amount to about 9% of the company's 40,000 employee workforce.
Which I find fascinating because he's laying off 3,600, quote, employees, close quote. That workload is going to have to come from someone else. I can only imagine it's going to come from independent contractors. And if any of them get injured or if there's overtime or breaks or lunch issues, imagine the lawsuit that's going to come with Tesla for classifying these new people that he's going to rehire as independent contractors instead of employees. Right, my boy?
I think that's not likely in this scenario.
Okay.
I got to say that. Most likely, they're not going to be using independent contractors because my understanding of Tesla is they order parts, they assemble them there. It's engineers and things like that. I actually met somebody who works at Tesla. They're very, very smart.
Where's the plant that he works at, or does he work at a plant?
I think it's near Marina Del Rey, like Long Beach area.
I figured it was a little further like China or something.
No. It's here in Los Angeles.
So he's an R&D guy.
No, you know what? It's SpaceX. It's not. I'm sorry. It's SpaceX. It's not Tesla. Yeah,
And
but it's all Elon Musk. It
And
confuses me.
SpaceX, didn't they just acquire all of that land around San Pedro and Long Beach, right?
Yes, they did.
Yeah.
And I actually thought I saw a Tesla office actually off of Havenhurst near Van Nuys Airport.
What do you guys think of the Tesla car? Does anyone actually?
Well,
has anyone
I
ever
think-
been in one yet?
Well, yes,
I have not.
I have,
haven't either.
but the key is the Tesla that he guaranteed for $30,000, because all of the Teslas that people are out and driving are about $60,000, $70,000, $80,000, and he promised to deliver so many cars at $30,000, $35,000, and then production was stalled. It was slowed for whatever reason.
He had a lot of trouble.
He had a lot of trouble making it for that price, and now he's laying off 3,600 people out of a 40,000 employee workforce.
He tried to really automate his manufacturing, and then, he bragged about not even having one human in the plant, and then he realized that he needed humanoids. That's my understanding. He had production problems.
Yes, he did.
When you have 40,000 employees, though, you can probably always find more efficiency, such that 3,600 employees may not be felt significantly, in my opinion. But I don't know. I don't know what they're doing over there.
Los Angeles-based Farmers Insurance has named Rob Howard Chief Claims Officer. Howard joined Farmers in 1987 as a claims representative in St. Louis, as well as relocating to Southern California in the year 2000.
AAA Nevada is hoping to set a world record by throwing what is believed to be the first wedding held inside a driverless vehicle. The Las Vegas Review-Journal reports would-be brides and grooms can submit an online essay explaining why they deserve a free wedding aboard AAA's autonomous shuttle circling downtown Las Vegas. Through June 20, couples can submit their essays by selecting the Enter the self-driving shuttle wedding promotion button at AAAONLASVEGAS.com. Participants must be Nevada residents who are 21 or older. The winning couple will be wed during a ceremony set for 10 a.m. June 30 in front of Container Park. The autonomous shuttle will remain stationary during the service, followed by 2 loops through the Fremont East.
And that's really the key, that the actual wedding where the priest or whoever is marrying them, once he starts his spiel, the car is not going to be moving. It's going to be stationary. I mean, imagine if they announced a free wedding, while the car's moving and they get into an accident. So the wheels are not going to be moving during the wedding. And then after it's, do you do this? I do. Then they take a 2-block ride around the corner.
It's a risky start to your
Yeah,
marriage.
risky start to your
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
I don't know. This might not be a good sign for things to come. All right, that's a lot of risks the first day.
Well, my boy, why don't you pick a news story and tell
All
us
right.
about signs to come?
Okay. Well, nationally, 1 in 5 Medicare patients who leave the hospital for a nursing home actually ends up back in the hospital. In California, 1/5 of the more than 1,200 nursing homes send at least 24% of their Medicare patients back to the hospital. To discourage this trend, the Center for Medicare and Medicaid Services, CMS, will soon give bonuses and penalties to facilities based on their rehospitalization rates.
Officials on Hawaii's Big Island let some people back into their homes and scaled down emergency operations this week as lava flowed into the ocean on a path that wasn't threatening new areas.
I think what is happening now in Hawaii is the lava is not creating any new pathways. So they know exactly where it's going. So it's following this path, but it's still spewing as much lava, if not more. And the shots of this river of lava hitting the ocean have been extraordinary because it's like literally exploding, and it's remarkable.
It's absolutely spectacular.
And I want to thank all of you for listening to WorkComp Matters. My name is Steve Appel. We're brought to you by A1 Law and Santa Monica Tickets. If you want the #1 computer management system used by more workers' compensation attorneys than any other system on the planet, give me a call, 818-357-4120. For your no-strings-attached money-back guarantee, $1 a day, A1 Law. And if you want those hard-to-get sold-out, even front row, concerts, sports, theater tickets, give my buddy Brian a call at Santa Monica Tickets, 310-395-8587. You're dialed into WorkComp Matters, the central location for all you employees, employers, and independent contractors. Next week, we have 30-year workers' compensation attorney Barbara Thompson on the show talking about mediation. 2 weeks after that, July 3rd, Michael Burton is coming in to talk about structured settlements. And then 2 weeks after that, July 18th, attorney Raymond Hegmat, I'm looking forward to this, talking about divorce and family law. It's time for a musical break. I love the folk rock sounds of Susan Scheller. And what can I say? But here she is on WorkComp Matters.
I sold my soul, I can't get it back. I've fallen down on my lonely track. Something inside is dying to break free. I got chains from wings to the I long to break free from this lonesome jubilee. I feel so scarred, it's gone by this party's policy. Yeah. If I could change my ways, baby, I would change today. I got chains, wings used to be. Going high up in the sky. Don't worry, my life ain't gonna pass me by. It's the end of the road, my lonely road of dreams untold. I got chains, wings free as long as you stick with me. I've been down, but it don't bother me. No, you know I had me some chains where some wings used to be. And he told me just like this: he going high up in the sky. Don't worry, your life ain't gonna pass you by. It was looking like the end of the road, the lonely road. The dreams untold, it had changed the way it used to be. Hang on now. You get high up in the sky. Don't worry, your life ain't gonna pass you by. It's the end of the road, your lonely road. The dreams untold, they got changed the way it used to be. I don't mean to sound corrupt, but I fallen, now I can't get up. I don't mean to sound depraved, not a straight line to my grave. Chains the wings used to be. I got chains where wings used to be. Something inside was dying to break free. I had chains where wings used to be. I learned you gotta keep changing. Take it from me.
The sweet folk rock sounds of Susan Scheller on WorkCom Matters. My name is Steve Appel. We're brought to you by A1 Law and Santa Monica Tickets. If you want the #1 computer management system used by more workers' compensation attorneys than any other system on the planet, give me a call. 818-357-4120 for your no-strings-attached money-back guarantee, $1 a day. A1 Law. And if you want those hard-to-get, front-row, sold-out concert, sports, theater tickets, give our buddy Brian a call at Santa Monica Tickets, 310-395-8587. We've got about 20 minutes left. You're dialed into WorkComp Matters. We've got some topics of the week coming up, and I want to do a show about the pardon me, not a show, a news story about the homeless. So if one of you guys can get that out, we'll be talking about that in a moment. We've got California's budget with Jerry Brown. We've also got marijuana story. If one of you guys can find a story on marijuana, that would be awesome. We've got the federal judge's approval of the AT&T and Time Warner merger. Go ahead and get that one out, too. And last but not least, I know the labor commissioner has fined a couple of restaurants some serious dough. So get that out, too. And whoever wants it, go ahead and grab it. I'm going to defer to Mike first, who has a story about a local University of Southern California. The good gynecologist who's been with the university for about 25 plus years. Go ahead, Mike.
Gloria Allred filed an amended lawsuit Tuesday for representing 24 women against disgraced USC gynecologist Dr. George Tyndall.
And as much as I hate Gloria Allred, I'm going to say, way to go, girl, because I think this doctor, is a total disgrace.
Well, I think the irony is, I mean, I'll get back to the story in a minute, but I think the irony is that, you know, the president who got who got fired over this thing, his big thing was he raised a big bunch of dough, and it was like $500 million or something. Okay?
Cover up.
It's
cover
gonna
up,
be it's
cover
gonna be
up.
about 400. No, what I'm saying is about 400 million of that is going to go to pay off plaintiffs.
My
so
point
you,
exactly.
Okay, you folks that donated all that dough, I hope you're feeling good. And just like people that gave dough to Michigan State, although that's a
Right.
public
Yeah,
university.
yeah.
This is ridiculous.
Yeah, continue the story.
Okay.
Sorry. Go ahead.
During 27 years at USC's student health clinic, Dr. Tyndall had repeatedly been accused of creepy behavior, including improperly photographing patients' genitals, touching women inappropriately during pelvic exams, and making sexually suggestive and sometimes crude remarks about their bodies. And I've heard it's a lot more than that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I heard on KNX radio yesterday when he was doing an exam with this one woman who's being represented by Allred. He had his left hand was cupping her underneath her buttocks, and then the right hand was giving her a pelvic examination in a massaging type manner. And in fact, the news radio had to say, for those of you that have children in your car, you may want to turn down the sound, okay?
I just hope he gets Bill
Whoa.
Cosby.
I hope he gets everything he effing deserves.
Actually, I know one of the attorneys who's handling the lawsuit.
Why am I not surprised?
Well, if anybody actually knows anybody, you can always call my office, 310-999-9989. I'm not kidding.
Wait
Send it on over.
a minute. 310. I thought it was an 800 or 888.
No, it's 310-999-9989.
Was that 310-999-9989? I'm
You
getting
got
it
it.
right now, right?
It's, what is it now? 2 years almost. 1 year and a half we're on. And you got it.
310-999-9989.
You know what? It's correct. I'm impressed. I thought I picked an easy number. A year and a half later, I see that it's finally paid off.
Robert, involved with the plaintiff or the defendant?
Plaintiff, of course. Plaintiff. So if you know somebody who's been a victim of this doctor, you can give my office
Robert,
a call. We know the attorneys.
What is a case like this worth to Gloria Allred?
Well, it depends how
Right
many
now,
plaintiffs you
24.
sign up.
Well, right now she's got 24.
She's got 24 plaintiffs right now?
Yeah.
Does she have a license to practice law? In California? I have no idea Gloria Allred's
I would say yes. I would
qualifications.
say yes.
Yes,
Okay.
she does. Yes, she does.
Okay.
She's very successful.
Now, when you talk about what is this worth of Allred, you have to look at that in two forms of currency.
Yeah, 33 to 40%.
Well, advertising and income. Correct.
Thank you.
Ted.
Exactly. It's the mere publicity of it all is invaluable. It really and truly is.
Yeah.
And then the amount of money that she recover, I'm sure it's going to
No
be
such thing as bad press. I agree.
No, absolutely not.
But when you ask about the value of each case, it really does depend on what's going on with each victim.
No,
Yeah,
I asked what was the value to Gloria Allred. I didn't ask each case.
Okay, because for Gloria Allred, hopefully, if she's an attorney, I don't even know her status.
Robert, she's very good at what she does. Why are
okay.
you saying that?
I just don't know her status. I've seen her on the news. I just don't know anything personally.
She's a
about her.
licensed California attorney. I can guarantee
Okay.
that.
Well, okay. So it depends, of course. The value of each case depends on the medical records, right? If somebody had a serious, psychological episode, or they have medical bills, they require medical treatment, depression, difficulty with relationships and intimacy. Those are all real things for a young woman who's coming of age, right? And those are big factors in determining who she has a life with
I'm
later.
thinking with 24 plaintiffs and plaintiffs, an initial settlement demand of $50 million is kind of in the ballpark. No, what do you guys think?
I think it would have to be just piecemeal, probably. Just go through each one and say for this
sounds
name, like a
about right,
spreadsheet,
I think that sounds.
and maybe aggregate. Yeah, you might be right.
Yeah.
I
in
think the
aggregate,
total
exactly.
damages they're going to end up paying for all of these plaintiffs in this situation related to Dr. Tyndall is ultimately going to be $250 million.
Wow.
I don't know. It depends. I think there might be $100,000 a
10
head
mil a
type of deal.
piece, huh, Mike?
I
10
don't
mil
know
a
if-
piece?
I don't know if it
Wow.
goes that high.
Well, they're going to be more than 24, believe me.
Well, there's
now,
also
if you're talking in terms as far as legal costs are concerned,
No,
now
recovery.
you're talking about pure recovery for the plaintiffs.
Correct.
I don't think it's going to go that high.
I gotta agree,
What?
Ted.
No, I don't.
Well, listen, if it goes to verdict, perhaps,
we'll
right?
see.
Because punitive damages are possible.
What are the Vegas odds? What are the odds of giving in Vegas?
Are they giving odds on litigation nowadays?
Oh, in Vegas on something like this with Goya Red? Of course, I'm sure they are.
I don't know about Vegas given odds, but I do have 2 stories coming up on the labor commissioners of California. They have found that the Cheesecake Factory restaurant is liable in a $4.5 million wage theft case that underpaid 559 janitorial workers managed by Magic Touch Commercial Cleaning, AmeriClean Janitorial Services Corp., the Cheesecake Factory's janitorial contractor that subcontracted the work to Magic Touch Commercial Cleaning, is also liable for the wage theft, which occurred at 8 locations in Orange and San Diego counties. The affected workers are due almost $4 million in minimum wages, overtime, liquidated damages, waiting time penalties, and meal and rest period premiums. There's also a follow-up case with the labor commissioner. This is regarding a Northern California Japanese restaurant. I've got it right here. Who wants it? 3, 2,
I'll read it for you if
1.
you like.
There you go. Please do.
Sure. On that other case that you just read there, boss, it looked like Cheesecake Factory was one of the many defendants and perhaps not the actual employer.
Actually, what it was, and Mike, we can go. Thank you, my boy, for bringing this up. Cheesecake Factory contracted with a subcontracting janitorial firm. The janitorial firm brought in employees of the janitorial firm between midnight and 8 a.m. to clean Cheesecake Factory restaurants. Now, they were denied breaks, they were denied lunches, and then when Cheesecake managers opened up their office, they did not let the janitorial people leave until they inspected the entire restaurant.
And they frequently added duties.
And they frequently said, no, you can't leave. You have to do another hour or 2 of cleaning. And this is why I believe that the courts found that Cheesecake Factory was an employer in addition to the janitorial company.
Yeah, they exercise control if that's the case.
Yes,
right?
they did. Yes.
All right. Well, in that related case, the Labor Commissioner's Office has cited the following 7 Bay Area restaurants more than $10 million for wage theft violations affecting 431 workers. The restaurants inspected include Kome Japanese Seafood and Buffet in Daly City, Burma Ruby's Burmese Cuisine in Palo Alto, and Rangoon Ruby Burmese Cuisine. Is that a city in Burma? Rangoon?
I don't know. Just go ahead.
Located in Palo Alto, San Fran, and it's a whole chain of Burmese food that I've never experienced.
They're all in the proposed Northern California of the new ballot.
Sure, if you have Burmese food, not too often, but you could be sure that it might be one of these wage theft places. The citations issued to Kome, the Japanese restaurant, total more than $5.16 million and involve 133 workers. And the Burmese restaurant chain was cited for more than $4.96 million for 298 underpaid workers. The wage theft violations and civil penalties cited include failure to pay the minimum wage, overtime, and split shift premiums.
What I would be curious about is if the employees who were subjected to the wage theft, if they were immigrants, perhaps, because I can't imagine any American-born citizen putting up with such crap. I just can't.
I absolutely can.
Really?
If you're out of a job, if you can't find work, if you have to pay your bills, there arguably are no limits to what you will do besides selling drugs or robbing a bank to pay your bills.
Well,
okay, so just out of sheer desperation, you would just tolerate anything that happened. Well, just about anything.
Maybe you're
that
totally ignorant and you don't know what the minimum wage is. You don't know you're entitled to a
But
break.
usually, natural-born citizens, like Ted indicated, they usually speak up a little bit more.
How many farm workers?
That's my experience as well, too.
How many farm workers between Southern and Northern California in the middle of the state just know that they're going to get $80 a day?
Well, look,
for
that's
work-
exactly proving Ted's point, because Ted is saying that these immigrant Latinos, non-English speaking people, in this case perhaps Burmese people of all people, but regardless, some sort of minority group that's not an English speaker, they're more likely to get taken advantage of than an English speaker, regardless if they're black or white. And let me tell you, from my experience, that's the case, right?
Right. Yeah, because normally they're not very sophisticated. They have little to no education, and so they can be easily taken advantage of. And then that's why I believe they more than likely are than aren't.
And actually, I would agree with you because they're more trusting. And I just know this from experience in my office. You guys know I handle a large volume of claims. And every time we get an English speaker as compared to a Spanish speaker, speaking people are often simply more trusting of the attorney. You have the attorney hat on. Okay, sir. Sí, obrigado, right? But if you have an English speaker, it's what school did you go to? What's the plan of my case? It turns into a 30-minute explanation of the workers' comp system back to the pirate days of getting like a wood leg and some gold, if you got hurt on a ship.
Back to the Boynton.
Right? And they go, okay, finally, thank you for explaining that. I'm just like, no problem. You can get my book online.
Mike, that's 200 years before the Boynton Act.
That's what I'm saying, is that English speakers are just Americans. They're harder to satisfy.
No, they
right?
are.
So much harder for customer service. I enjoy my Latino clients. First, they trust me, and I value that trust so much. It's a pride I carry with me as an attorney, that I know that there's other people that would take advantage of them. They do, like you see in these stories. So I consider myself one of the good guys, because you have to pick a side in this world and do the right thing. But you're totally right as far as my evidence is anecdotal. I got a couple hundred cases, in my office at any given time. But you're totally right. If I get an English speaker on the phone, and I've been through this, twice today already, right? You get an English speaker, they want to know, what's my case worth? You haven't even filed it yet,
You're taking a task for it. You are actually grilled really hard. They want to know every little last detail. Yes. So they're less likely to put up with any bull crap.
I couldn't agree with that anymore. My name is Steve Appel. You're listening to WorkCom Matters, the central location for all you employees, employers, and, of course, we haven't forgotten about you independent contractors. We're brought to you by A1 Law and Santa Monica Tickets. If you want the #1 computer management system used by more workers' compensation attorneys than any other system on the planet, give me a call at 818-357-4120 for your no-strings-attached, money-back guaranteed $1 a day, A1 Law. And if you want those hard-to-get, sold-out concerts, sports, theater tickets, yes, even front row, give our buddy Brian a call, 310-395-8587. We've got a couple of news stories left, and we're going to have to end the show.
County Board of Supervisors voted Tuesday to expand services for homeless people in areas where the city of Los Angeles has struggled. The supervisors approved the overnight placement of 2 portable toilets and hand washing stations at the Rose Avenue Beach parking lot in Venice Beach. The latest development in an ongoing debate about bathroom access for the homeless. In related story, Orange County supervisors committed in court Monday to increase up to 400 new emergency shelter beds on county-owned property in Irvine, Huntington Beach, and Anaheim and Laguna Niguel. $70.5 million committed for housing and mental illness.
In a related story, homeless people and a growing number of newly insured young adults are flooding Southern California's emergency departments for non-life-threatening illnesses, years after proponents of the Affordable Care Act promised that better health coverage would divert people away from ERs, according to state data and public health experts. State data shows that actually the opposite has happened. Emergency department visits, including those that resulted in hospital admissions, grew an average of 4% every year from 2010 to 2016.
For the next few weeks, retailers will do what they can to move stockpiles of untested marijuana left over from California's unregulated gray market. What they can't sell by July 1, in theory, they'll have to destroy. And once the old inventory is cleared out, experts say licensed shops might be looking at a very different problem. a cannabis shortage?
This is really easy, and I'm here to say this right now. For any of you cannabis people or anybody that's holding marijuana that's about to theoretically expire and won't comply with the laws, you are more than welcome to make a free donation to Steve Appel and Work Comp Matters.
You'll handle it, huh?
Yeah, I will handle it.
I hope somebody here really doesn't have like pounds of marijuana that they're going to send you. Can you believe that if you're in your office on a Thursday afternoon and your FedEx is here, Mr. Appel?
Well, he is the official disposal unit.
I
He
am
is
the official disposal
Yes,
unit
he
of
is.
your marijuana in California.
It's a service he provides.
Hopefully no clients are in the
That's right.
office, okay?
And I will be more than happy to sign an agreement that you are not responsible. I am 100% responsible for whatever happens to that marijuana.
You know,
It's
Steve,
okay.
I cannot think of a higher calling.
Well, actually, you know what? On a fairly straight topic related to that Trump did indicate recently, right, in a tweet that he was in favor of the federal decriminalization of marijuana.
Oh, yes, he did. Yes,
and then leave it to the
absolutely he did.
states.
Yes.
So that would be full on 100% legal now, and then the banking system would really pick up, because I understand that these pot shops have a difficulty with this cash that they receive, right?
Because the feds don't recognize their legitimacy.
Yeah,
And in
so-
fact, criminalize it. So
Correct. So the banks are. Do you have any just only state banks? Do those exist, or are they all under the regulation of the Fed? So they all have to follow.
All the banks are
yeah.
federally regulated.
So that's
Yes,
why
they are.
there's not a single bank that could take this cash. I wonder. It's honestly a danger to have for a business owner to have this much cash on them, and for a criminal to know that you can't deposit it and you must have it on you somewhere.
But that's why so many of them get robbed.
Yeah,
that's exactly the reason why.
it's an attractive danger
It's
to a
common
criminal.
knowledge because they know literally it's a cash cow.
Yeah, it seems to be crawling out for some sort of violent crime to occur, and you want to prevent that by using a bank. So, it seems we've invented the bank a long time ago, but all of a sudden you exclude one activity that's extremely cash heavy of all things,
Right.
and then expect no repercussions possibly. You can imagine all the people walking around with guns out there. You don't know the pot owners, right? Scared every day.
yeah.
Yeah, very true. And those, and when you look at pot businesses like that who cannot deposit their money, then you're looking at those who may possibly engage in money laundering. So there's always going to be a
it breeds an
potential criminal
underbelly of
element
crime.
to it. Yes, absolutely.
And again, any of you that want to launder money, well, I've got a washer dryer at Casa de Appel, and I'd be willing to talk to you about it.
I don't think it involves actually doing laundry. I don't think that's actually how you launder money. I could be mistaken, though.
Speaking of federal regs, AT&T yesterday, Tuesday, won a federal judge. AT&T won a federal judge's approval for its $85 billion deal to acquire Time Warner, prevailing over federal government. U.S. District Judge Richard Leon rejected the government's argument that a combination of AT&T and Time Warner would give the telecom giant an unfair advantage over rival cable companies. AT&T expects to complete the deal by June 20th of this year. What do you all think?
How can that
good for
possibly
cable?
be good for consumers? I don't understand how that big a mega merger, too big to fail, can be good for consumers. Am I wrong?
To me, it just means it's going to cost the consumer more money. What
Absolutely.
do you guys think?
No, and I agree 100% because as your choices and options diminish, as they shrink, the prices go up. It's pure and simple. There's no other way to see it.
Basic supply and demand. You
Absolutely.
have more of a demand and less of a supplier.
Absolutely. When you get to the point where you're the only poker game in town, you can literally just set your own standard. You can establish your own rate. So I don't see any benefit to it. I think the consumer loses there.
AT&T's merger, you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah,
AT&T and Time Warner.
$85 billion.
Well, if you think about that, for example, Netflix, right? What's the size of that company? It's much larger than $85 billion, correct?
I don't know.
I
Is
believe
it?
it's like $300 or $400 billion.
Netflix?
Yeah.
Okay. All
Right?
right.
And
It could be, but you also have to remember.
Oh, it's $165 billion.
Yeah, but when-
apologies.
Okay.
but if
no,
you-
I think that's double, more than double the amount.
Yeah, but if you look at that, you look at the market though. There's still a lot of competition out there for the genre that Netflix represents.
But the key is, I look at my Netflix bill each month. It's $8 or $9. I look at my cable bill. It's $250.
Correct.
This is really just so I would see this deal having a few components, right? You have the phone with AT&T, you have the internet with Time Warner. So you have the phone internet bundle going on there, which a lot of companies already offer, and then you have the actual how should I say this, content that Time Warner owns. Correct? Their media arms, the USA Network, all of that, and the whatever content they physically own.
Yes, all those companies.
Right. So you have two parts of their business. You have the media part, and you have the communications hard data part.
Yeah, but here's the interesting thing about that though. Time Warner already offers internet services. They already do. They hawk that all the time.
Yeah.
They do. And so all AT&T does is just increase their market share. That's what that does. And that's the only benefit that they have to that. So it's not about what services, or when you're talking about combining the two, you're looking at what it does. It extends their expansion into the cellular market and into the internet market. That's what it does.
All good points, and unfortunately, I'd love to talk about this more, but we've come to the end of another edition of Work Comp Matters. My name is Steve Appel, and you're dialed into the central location for you employees, employers, and independent contractors. For the best dressed man in California, workers' compensation, Mr. Ted Durden. My right-hand man, keeping me out of trouble and in check at least 90% of the time, Mike Zyma. My protege, attorney Robert Ozeron. Technician Scott Walton of Uncle Studios on the board. Back in Munich, Germany, attorney John Scalia. And back at Work Comp Central, all the good people that continue to support and approve of this project, including, but not limited to, Leaf File and Jake Paris. My name is Steve Appel. We'll see you again next week with attorney Barbara Thompson on another edition of Work Comp Matters.